Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This morning I took a ride to Marco Island, Florida. I am at the historic Marco Island Cemetery, which dates back circa 1880. Many settlers and descendants are buried here, including one very famous golfer who I'll talk about in a few minutes. Also adjacent to the cemetery is the little church, historic little church that you can see back there in the distance. It sits adjacent to the old cemetery, and that dates back to 1939. That was also the first church on the island, and it's been used for many functions since. So we will be paying a visit to that little old church as well as the Marco Island Cemetery. I hope you enjoy the video, and please like and comment at the end and subscribe to the channel. It's much appreciated. For those of you who have never heard of Marco Island, Marco Island is a barrier island in the Gulf of America. 24 square miles. It is the largest of the barrier island chain, which is also known as the 10,000 Islands. It dates back to around 1870 is when modern Marco Island was starting to build up. Of course, before then was the Calusa Indians who lived here for thousands of years. And here we are, the Church of God, also affectionately called the Little Church. As I said, built in 1939. This is not the first location of the church. The church was located in an area that's called Old Marco, which is about 1.5 miles to 2 miles down the road from here, as we have the Black Crow join us. For this morning. Here is a church historical plaque explaining everything. Marco Church of God, historical church, erected January 1939 and restored in March 2001. Began in 1935 by Carolyn Robinson. The Marco Church of God was the first church to be established on Marco Island. In the summer of 2000, the historical church was moved to this location and levelly restored. Like I said, this is not the original spot of the church, but actually this church was moved, I think in the 80s sometime, to the corner of this cemetery, and then it was moved over here, I think in 2000. So actually I think this is the third location of the church. This church had many functions over the years, and it was also used as a school back in 1939. As you can see, the original, which looks like to be the original school bell, still hanging above the doorway. Adjacent to the old church is a final resting location with some very pretty monuments, and each bench is dedicated to a family member who's passed away. Very pretty location, as you can see. In the rear of the church, a small pond behind it, with the modern day church in the background. Some original stained glass windows. I think they're original anyway. I'll tell you what's not original is the gutters. A new roof was put on this church not that long ago after one of the major hurricanes that hit the island. There was a time when no hurricanes hit Marco Island. It was considered blessed by the inhabitants of the Cruce Indians back 1,000 years ago, if not more. As we look out to the historic cemetery, where some founding fathers of Marco Island in Southwest Florida are buried. As we walk over to the historic cemetery here in Marco Island, you're going to see a lot of crude cemetery markings and headstones, along with many modern headstones. But this is the final resting place of many of the founding fathers, as I had mentioned, of the area. This tree must be 100 years old. Some stones sitting right under it. Let's take a look at those. I'm able to really read them. They're so old. If tears could build a stairway and memories a lane, I'd walk right up to heaven and bring you home again. Wow. So many sad stories in a cemetery, in any cemetery, especially an historic cemetery. Life seemed to be so passing at any given moment. Here's a stone here. Edith Daniels, born September 30th. It's like it's hard to read it. It's like 1904 and died 1918. Like I said, very sad stories. And here's a more modern stone. This cemetery has some unbelievable headstones. As you look at the little church in the background, that's pretty neat. Remember earlier I mentioned a very famous, if not the most famous, golfer of all time is buried here. And I'm going to show you who that is right now as we turn over. Take a look. Mr. Gene Sarazen, one of the most famous golfers of all time. Passed away, I believe, at 98 years old. He was a long-time resident of the area and is interred right here in the old historic cemetery. He's only one of 5 players to win all major golf championships. The other 4 are Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, Ben Hogan, and Gary Player. And he died at age 97. There you have it, Gene Sarazen. This burial caught my eye from a distance. I had to come over and take a look at this. Wow. Unbelievable. William H. Cook Jr. Wow. He died in 1948. He was born on March 21st, 1920. And he was in World War II. So, unbelievable. Only 28 years old. What a beautiful structure. And it looks like his family members are buried alongside here. Christina Cook. You've got the Lily Lorena Cook. And it goes on and on and on. The Cook family represented here at the Marco Allen Cemetery. How many of you remember Doxy clams? Very, very, very big, famous clam company that started way over 100 plus years ago. Well, you got some descendants of the Doxy clam factory buried here. Captain Ralph C. Pop, born in 1912 and he died in 2007. The Doxies ran a clam canning facility here on Marco Island for many, many years. Certain gravestones catch my eye when I'm walking. This one, of course, being broken in 2, caught my eye. And it's hard to read the writing, but there is a placard on the bottom. Mary Walker, 1865 to 1917. Passed away way over almost 110 years ago, 108 years ago. Usually the stones around the very old trees are going to be historic and be on the older side of the burials in the cemetery. People like to be buried around the trees, especially 100-year-old trees that were probably just little twigs at the time. But that's what they did. As we look at this tree, with a plaque in front of it. John. That's more modern, 2001, but you got some really older ones here. Underneath the tree. As you look at the modern church in the background, there's a modern church, Sunday Mass happening right now. And you've got the historic little church that was once used. Try to get a better shot. As I show the monuments, I feel it's best not to talk. I think the monument says it all. This monument, I just want to say, wow. Beautiful. This is a monument for the passing of young children. As you can read that, all those who have lost children, I invite all to leave a white flower at its base. Anyway, here's Logan Buttermeyer. Hope you can see that. That's a very sad story, and I'll show you the tombstone in a moment. Here's another sad story. Willie-eyed. August 26, 1882, August 18th, 1895, gathering fish in the Hudson River, New York. He drowned gathering fish. He was just shy of his 13th birthday. Like I said, there's so many sad stories. I just showed you the dedication plaque for the Buttermeyer children. Here's their final resting place. Very sad story. I won't get into it, but people who live here know the story. Marco Island Cemetery is non-denominational, as they also have a Jewish memorial garden, which you don't see too often next to a Christian cemetery, on the same grounds actually, but it's very well kept. As you can see. There's one marker here. These are on the newer side. It's a very pretty one. This one finally caught my eye. I was looking for it for the last 20 minutes. William T. Collier, born in Tennessee, March 12th, 1815, died at Marco, Florida, October 30th, 1902. One of the founding fathers of Marco Island in Collier County, William T. Collier. Here's another Collier. It's hard to read, it's very small. Agnes Collier, born 1886, died 1902. Not many people know this story I'm about to tell, but there was a very tragic occurrence that happened on this property in 1973. Two young girls committed suicide. The police called it a murder-suicide, or you could just call it a suicide, but either way, two young girls' bodies were found in this area with a .38 caliber handgun underneath them. And that incident caused the community to come around and restore the cemetery. So with something bad happening, something good happened as well. To honor those lost. It's a story that many people probably never heard about, but I thought it'd be interesting to mention it. A lot of World War II veterans buried here in the historic cemetery, which is understandable since it is an older community. It was an older community. Here's an historic gravestone. George, Thomas, and Wilmer, sons of W.D. and M.E. Collier, drowned, one word, drowned, March 3rd, 1898, ages 8, 6, and 4. They are the sons of Captain Bill Collier. His sons were victims of a tragic accident on the high seas. A schooner called Speedwell was struck by a squall in the Florida Keys and overturned. 9 persons were caught in the cabin and drowned, including the Collier kids. So this tragedy, he lost 3 of his children in one day to a drowning down south in the Florida Keys. And here's what remains, this one word on here, drowned. And that was 1898, so this tombstone is quite old. As we leave the cemetery area and head back to the historic little church, you can actually see some tombstones buried next to the church as well. It's probably about 200 feet or so away from the cemetery grounds. As stated earlier, this church is mostly used now for special occasions, weddings, things like that. And the new house of worship is, of course, over there. But it's such a neat little church. I wanted to show it on the channel. It's historic in so many ways. First church on the island. A lot of history behind the people who built it. Church of God. And that about wraps it up, guys. I hope you enjoyed my sentimental journey to the historic church on Marco Island and also the historic cemetery. There's lots to see. I'm looking forward to doing much more. So please like, and subscribe to the channel. It's a new channel, so I would be appreciated. And I am looking forward to doing much more in the future. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.